Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter Show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we're going to talk about it right here. Happy 4th of July, everyone. Beeb, it's America's Day.
Can I just get it out of the way right now?
No, you can't get it out of the way right now. Let me do the intros. I haven't even done the intros. I know that you hate this. I get it.
All right, I just wanted to get it away.
Yeah, well, tough. It's not going to happen right this second. Got it? We're going to do the intros and everything like that. They don't even know what you're doing.
Okay.
And you just sit there, I want to do it right now. I want to do it. It's like some demented kid. All right, you're going to wait. Just like, no. We're going to get the mood right first.
Okay.
You get the mood right.
Little foreplay?
That's right. That's how we do it here.
Okay.
We don't just go right for the gravy here. All right? All right, for those of you who don't know, my name is Eric Lorta. This is Joe Habib, who's going to stick a pie in his face here pretty soon. Beeb?
Can I do it now?
No, you can't. Can't do it now. If you guys want to call in and ask questions, you can call in right now. 323-870-3857. And tonight, we're going to talk about Deontay Wilder is silencing his critics, but not like you think, but we'll explain it. And first, we're going to get started with the Beeb. Beeb, you lost a pie bet to Georgie. You lost. And now, you know what time it is, Beeb? It's time to pay the fiddler.
From Boston.
Go ahead. Put it in your face.
Everyone keeps saying that I buy these friggin' little baby pies.
Yeah.
This is a real pie right here. You ready?
Stop stalling. Just do it. Let me see the pie. Hold on. Let me see the pie. He's got quite a bit of it on his face. Yeah, I wouldn't eat it. All right, I guess that counts. What do you guys do with the rest of the pie? You just toss it now? Yeah, what are you going to do?
Feed it to the dogs.
Yeah. Listen, I don't want you wiping off your face now. I want you doing a whole show like this.
Lois,
4th of July.
Lois, give me a towel, please. Thank you.
From Boston.
You guys witnesses that I did this.
Reese Mack says Georgie doesn't even seem to be in the room. Yeah, Georgie's in Rikers, all right? What do you think? They get time off for 4th of July? Probably still on lockdown right now. Still in solitaire.
You know.
All right. Let me know. Beeb pays off his bets.
One thing about Georgie, though, he always seems to get this fucking title back. Oh, God, this is horrible. Sticky face for the rest of the show.
From Boston.
That's fucking horrible. You know what? Next time I lose a pie bet, which will probably never happen again for the rest of my life, I'm going to get this pie because, you see, this is nice and firm. Like the cream pie goes all over you. See how this came right off real easy because it's nice and firm. See how the peaks? Oh, shit.
Are you drop it on your laptop?
Yeah.
Jesus.
A few crumbs, just a few crumbs. Here we go. We're all set. Thanks. Thank you, Lois.
Lois. You just pass it to a blow-up doll. What are you doing?
Enough, please. Don't add insult to injury, please. I'm already suffering from a traumatic event as it is.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Yeah, Coco the Don, sticky face.
Oh my God. All right.
Duncan McLeod said you just got a massive facial.
All right, guys, enough with the jokes.
Okay. Love it. Right. Hey, guys, say what you want about Beeb, man, but you know what? He pays his bets.
I'm like the Lannisters. I always pay my debts.
The Lannisters. Oh man. All right, let's get it started. Showtime. Chris Colbert versus Tugstsogt Nyambayar. Chris Colbert wins a unanimous decision over Tugstsogt Nyambayar by the scores of 117, 111, 118, 110 twice. Yeah, I tell you what, I'm a big fan of Tug. He was in there to win. He landed some good shots. And even after the fight, Colbert said Tug had really good power, and he had to kind of go into Muhammad Ali mode, as he called it. But Colbert is such a sharp boxer. I mean, he picked apart Tug over the course of 12 rounds. Tug had 2 weeks to get ready, but truth be told, you could have gave him 6 months. He's not beating Colbert. He's so good, man. That guy is just his jab, his movement. He throws in combinations. I mean, it's, I tell you what, man, it's he's a good fighter. He's a really good fighter, man. B, what were your thoughts on this?
Well, a lot of people are going to compare this to the Shakur Stevenson situation and be like, oh, well, people who are praising Colbert right now, or people who are not criticizing Colbert right now, they're hypocrites because they shit all over Shakur Stevenson. They criticized him, blah, 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 blah. Here's the difference, guys. Here's the difference. First of all, Tug is a very durable guy. And with all due respect, it was a better opponent than the opponent that Shakur Stevenson was fighting. That's number one.
Tug's very good.
Number two, Tug's never been knocked out before. And Gary Russell didn't even stop him. All right. Number three, Chris Colbert was stepping in behind his jab and actually turning over the right hand and coming forward and putting shots together. Now, it goes without saying, and the broadcast team mentioned it, how great Colbert's jab was. But the tricky thing about Colbert's jab, and I think Abner Mares alluded to this during the broadcast as well, is he's constantly changing up the speed of that jab. But I also noticed something else. He's constantly changing up the hand position from which he throws that jab. So sometimes he has that lead hand, that left lead hand down by his waist, and he's throwing it like an up jab, like an up flick jab, sort of like how Tommy Hearns used to throw it. And other times he'll throw it like from the chin. But, you don't know where it's going to be coming from because he's constantly changing his hands positioning, constantly giving you different looks, constantly changing up the speed of it. And he was throwing it hard a numerous amount of times and was snapping Tug's head back. And then when he was coming over the top with the right hand, he was turning the shot over and stepping in with it. And you could see Tug's head jar backward, snap, right? So he was actually, in my opinion, stepping in with these shots, putting shots together, throwing punches with bad intentions, in which I do not think Shakur Stevenson was, with all due respect. That's just my opinion. He was going to the body. He was mixing it up. He was being versatile. He was fighting on the inside at times. He was being able to measure the distance from the outside, and he was able to pot shot from the outside as well. So he showed us a lot of different looks. He was going southpaw. So he showed us a lot of different looks, and I thought that at least this fight showed us that Colbert, was in there to cause damage. He was in there to punch with authority. He was in there to throw combinations. Look at how many punches he threw. Threw a ton of punches. So he was in there to do damage. He was in there to put on an impressive performance, which I think he did. I thought he won the fight like 11 rounds to 1. So, Colbert, real quick on his feet, quick hands. Another thing he does very well is when he punches, gets the combination off, he never stands straight, right directly in front of you, never stands on the center line. He's throwing that combination and he's pivoting out or stepping off to the side. He's an elusive guy. He's a good fighter, not the hardest puncher in the world, but he's a sharp puncher. He froze Tug in his tracks on numerous occasions last night, and he was snapping his head back, and you could see that Tug was only throwing one punch at a time because he couldn't open up, because if he did try to open up, he was going to get picked apart. He was going to get countered, and he just couldn't deal with the hand speed. So for every punch that Tug landed, Colbert was coming back with 3. He was out punching him like 3-1. And, Tug was, I thought Tug was kind of throwing an arm punch with his hook. I don't think he was turning his hook over properly. Even the right hand, I don't think he was, really getting, really hitting Colbert with the blunt force of that right hand. He was catching him on the tail end of it, and it was catching him on the top of the head, grazing part of the glove, and grazing part of the top of the head. So I think Tug put up a great effort. He did land some clean shots, but I don't think that he was landing more than one shot at a time. And I don't think he really buzzed or stunned Colbert, right? I'm surprised to hear Colbert say that at the end of the fight because he didn't look like he was fazed at all by anything Tug did last night. But all in all, I thought it was a solid performance. I thought it was a very entertaining performance. And I enjoyed the fight. I enjoyed the fight. And I don't think you can really make a comparison between that performance from Colbert to Shakur Stevenson at all. No. I just saw a different type of fight, in my opinion. And I think Colbert's a different fighter than Shakur Stevenson. I think that he actually steps to guys and he punches with bad intentions. He turns shots over, bends his knees, and sits down on shots. I don't think he throws get-off-me punches. I think he's punching with authority. So I thought it was a solid performance.
Let's talk about the 130-pound division. You got Chris Colbert ranked number 1 in the WBA. Gervonta Davis is the super champion there. He's not going to get that fight. Gervonta is going to move up or he's going to do something else. He's not fighting Chris Colbert. That fight's not going to happen. And I think it's a bad, honestly, you got to think, can Davis get down to 130 again? That's number 1. But number 2, it's just a bad style matchup, I think, for Davis. Chris Colbert would be. I think at 130. You go higher, it's a little bit different. But at 130, yeah, it's a bad style matchup for Davis. Oscar Valdez and Jamel Herring and Shakur Stevenson are all on the other side of the street. Where does he, the one name that pops out at me in the 130-pound division is Gary Russell. Now, Gary Russell's at 126, and Gary Russell doesn't fight that often. But I like that matchup. I think that's a decent matchup for him. You know what I mean? I think that would be great if Gary Russell came up. That's a good fight. To me, that's a good fight. And it's a makeable fight. To me, it's a makeable fight. They're both on the same side. 4 pounds difference, there's got to be, somebody's going to sanction it. Somebody's going to sanction that fight, as a title fight. I think that's good. I think it's good because everybody else right now, as of right now, all the major players are over on the top ranked side. It's going to be tough for Colbert to get any fights because they're all going to fight each other. Those fights are almost all set in motion now. You got Oscar Valdez waiting for you got Jamel Herring and Shakur Stevenson. It's going to be tough for him to get any action in there. So that's for big fights for Colbert. That's what I would look at. But I don't know. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, a couple things may have to happen here. At 130, you hit the nail right on the head. It's going to be tough. So he's got to hope for some of these guys, like you said, Gary Russell, some of these 126-pounders, right, to come up to 130, or he may have to go up to 135, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, and at 135, he's going to – I think that he might be too small to go to that 135. I don't know that he carries the power to keep guys like, Lomachenko, guys like Teofimo, that's a murderer's row up there. Yeah. They've got a lot of Garcia, Haney. I don't know that he's able to compete with those guys. I'll be honest, man. I don't know that he's able to compete. I think 130 is his division.
He's like 5'8", 71-inch reach. He's got some size to him, but the power
isn't going to translate up because it's not translating now. You go up in weight, it's not gonna. But that's why I like the Gary Russell fight because I think it's a more even fight. But yeah, if he goes up, man, that's a murderer's row up there, man.
I think that the speed, the movement, and the solid defense would present problems for just about anybody. I'm not saying he'd beat everybody, right? I don't know if he'd beat Lomachenko. Probably at this point, you'd probably say no. But I don't think anyone steamrolls this guy. I think because his style is so difficult to deal with, he could, on any given night, and if he continues to improve and get better, on any given night, this guy could upset the apple cart, in my opinion. I think he's got that type of tricky, troublesome, pesky type of style that would aggravate these guys, I think, to be honest with you.
I'm going to make a statement here, and I don't know. I think Chris Colbert reminds me a lot of Corey Spinks. He reminds me a lot of Corey Spinks. The in and out, the movement, the combinations, everything like that, but he does lack the power.
Yeah.
You know, or he seemingly lacks the power. I've never been hit by him before. I'm sure he would knock me out, but I'm just saying, you know, for his division, everything, he doesn't seem, but he, you know, and he sits down on punches too. It's not like when you watch Shakur fight, Shakur is almost pulling out as he throws a punch.
Yeah. This guy's
There's
stepping
no
in hard.
intention. He's point fighting here. You know,
Yeah.
this guy's stepping in and he's letting you know.
He's throwing combinations. He's putting shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looked good. I thought he really looked good last night, man. I really did.
He's a solid fighter.
Yeah, and like I said, man, Tugstsogt Nyambayar, man, he's a good, solid fighter. I mean, he really is. And for him to go there on 2 weeks' notice and take care of, because you can say, well, Tug had 2 weeks' notice. Well, Chris also had 2 weeks' notice. Chris was in training camp.
Yeah.
But he also had 2 weeks' notice, you know, so
he's got to switch things up at the last minute.
For sure.
He's got to train differently and prepare for a different style than he was originally preparing for. And he was in there with a tougher opponent. So, you know, there was a lot of moving parts for both guys going into this fight, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, exactly, man. So, but a good fight overall for Chris Colbert. I'm anxious to see what he does next. I'm anxious to see what they give him next. You know, I mean, he's obviously, like I said, with let's see here, at the 130 and the WBA, Gervonta is a super champion. Again, I don't know that really holds anything, but they got a regular champion and they got an interim champion and whatever else you want to call him over there. So I imagine he'll get one of the WBA champions next, and then hopefully, he gets a big fight because he deserves it. I think he really does. He's a solid fighter, man.
I get a kick out of him too.
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
Michel Rivera versus John Fernandez. This was the second fight, the co-main here, and Rivera scores an 8th round KO over John Fernandez. B, what were your thoughts on this one?
This was kind of a back and forth affair. I thought that Rivera was slightly up, you know, at the time of the stoppage. I thought he was slightly up. Rivera really impressed me with that right hand, because that right hand is a very sharp, really turns it over beautifully. I think this guy's got a great jab. He got knocked down in the fight also as well, but he got up. It was kind of like a flash knockdown. And, you know, I just thought that this was a very entertaining fight. I thought it was a good back and forth affair. I thought Fernandez did well in spots, but I just think Rivera was quicker. I thought he was sharper with the punches, more accurate. And I think he hit harder. And you could tell that, you know, once Rivera settled down and was establishing his distance, he was able to measure Fernandez. Fernandez needed to get kind of close. He was more successful in the mid-range, where Rivera was better from the outside, because he could really extend that right hand and turn it over and really get the full effect from that right hand that he wanted to. But I thought the jab was on point too. He just showed me a lot of versatility. He showed me that he was well-rounded, showed me that he was able to come back from adversity. I thought, you know, Rivera was winning the fight, but Fernandez was in striking distance. I think Farhad had Fernandez up at the time of the stoppage. I had Rivera slightly up. I had my scoring was a little bit different, but the fight was competitive. I just think that Rivera was quicker. I thought he hit harder, and he was a little bit sharper defensively, even though he got knocked down with the flash knockdown. For the most part, you know, you could see Rivera putting his shots together and landing combinations where Fernandez would land one good shot, and Rivera wasn't going to stand there and allow him to land, you know, more than the one shot, because he kept moving. So it was hard. It was hard for Fernandez to hit Rivera with more than one shot, because Rivera's defense was tight, and also because he was moving very well in the fight. So all around, I just thought he was the better athlete. I thought he was the more talented fighter. And even though Fernandez had a lot of dog in him, he was very game, and he was no slouch either. I just think Rivera was just a better fighter all around, and that's what you know, showed us that he could do what he did in the fight. That's what enabled him to do what he did in the fight, because he had more tools in the toolbox.
Georgie wanting to know where's the pie at? Hey, it was at the beginning of the show.
I did it at the beginning of the show. Here's the pie right there. You can see right here. Oh,
yep.
Fuck. You can see right here the
He's
indent
stuff on the screen.
You can see where my face was indented in the pie.
There you go. There you go.
So you can go back and watch the beginning of the show, and you can see me do it if you don't.
There it is. He pays it off, man. He pays it off.
Ask the people in the chat.
There it is. Also, guys, make sure to hit the like button, man. If you like what we're doing, I mean, it's 4th of July, and we're here entertaining you. I mean, and we're not asking for it. All we're asking is that you just hit the like button. Just take your mouse, boom, hit the like button. That's all you got to do. That's it. How easy is that? How easy is that, man? I'm not asking you to work in a coal mine. Just hit the like button, son. That's all you got to do. That's it.
It was a lemon meringue.
Lemon meringue. There you go. All right, guys. So, and that's it. That was it for the fights this weekend, Beeb. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of action here.
And I'll tell you this: that Rivera, that Michelle Rivera guy. I think that was the first time I ever saw him fight, but I'm going to keep an eye out for him. He actually was sparring with Chris Colbert too in preparation for this fight with Tug, and even Chris Colbert was saying that he's a big, strong kid. He's a big, strong kid. He's a tough welterweight, a tough lightweight. Excuse me. Yeah, he's a tough lightweight.
There it is. All right. Before we've got an announcement to make here, and before I do that, I'm going to bring Robert on. Let me see if he's on here. Robert.
Hello, guys.
What's happening, man?
Happy 4th.
Happy 4th. Happy 4th. All right, we're gonna leave Robert on the line before we get back to him here. Want to let you guys know we have an announcement because we have a very special show coming up here on Tuesday. Something you guys probably never thought would happen, but hey, it's going to happen right here on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Nestor Gibbs, host of The Boxing Voice, will be on here as we'll have a Boxing Voice reunion show. Ringside Robbie, Ness, Beeb, and myself will all be here at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. Join us because we have a lot of good topics, and you definitely don't want to miss out. Beeb, let me ask you first. Is this something you ever thought would happen?
Honestly?
Yeah.
I thought eventually that we would cross paths again, Ness and I, because even though we had our ups and downs, I think the respect between us was always there. Did I think that it would happen where he'd come on this platform? Probably not, but I always thought that at some point in time that we'd run into each other, whether it be on here or someplace else. And because he was still communicating with me, during the time that we weren't doing the show anymore. He would send me texts every now and then or whatever. And, so it seemed like there was a lot of bad blood in that. And at the time, there was a little bit of animosity or there was a little bit of tension or whatever, but it's like anything else. It's like my brother, how me and my brother argue and scream and yell at each other all the time, but we're still brothers. That's kind of how Ness and I relationship were like, because we had a lot of time together. We did a lot of good things together, man. So I think that, we developed a bond, even though, things were said and things were done. At the end of the day, I think we both know that it was really not personal. The respect was always there, but I'm glad that we can, be on the screen together again. I think that would be fun.
There you go. Robert, what about you? Did you ever think this would happen?
No, honestly, I didn't. I honestly didn't think something like this would occur, but let's face it, we're all in the podcast business. We all get together and do various shows and especially with a sport like boxing, those of us that cover it instead of fighting with one another and trying to be competitors, it's good to work together and make everybody's products as good as it can possibly be, because the better job we can do to present what's available, the more people we can possibly get interested in the sport. And that's the way I look at it.
There you go. There you go. Robert, what did you think of Chris Colbert? Who does he fight next?
Well, I was going over the scenarios at 130 or 135, and I really didn't see an opening for him to really fight anybody, because if you look at the roster at 130, everybody's on Top Rank. If you look at the roster at 135, you got 2 at Top Rank and you got 2 on DAZN. So now Eddie Hearn is willing to have his fighters go on other platforms, because he said that in regards to the Canelo Caleb Plant situation, which he's trying to negotiate now. He indicated that he didn't care where the fight took place as long as they were able to put the fight together. This is where you need promoters and networks and things like that to work together. I like the Gary Russell idea, but the problem is you'd have to look on BoxRec, but hasn't it almost been like 2 years since he's been in the ring? I mean, how can you keep a title and not fight? I've never understood that. I think the Gary Russell fight would be good. I think that would be an easy fight to make, provided you could get him to sign a piece of paper and get him interested in fighting.
Well, I think it's interesting. I agree. I mean, I'm looking at it now. Let me see if I can get him up here. Yeah, Gary Russell.
It feels like it's
2020.
Been almost 2 years.
February 8th, 2020.
Oh, okay.
So
here we are in July.
Right.
Here we are in July of 2021, and there's no even conversation about him coming back to the ring. I don't. But yet his brothers are fighting all the time. I don't understand that. His brothers are fighting all the time. He's always at their fights, but he shows no interest in getting in the ring himself. That would be the easiest fight for Chris Colbert to make. Otherwise, another guy who was at the fight on Saturday would be Leo Santa Cruz. What about Leo Santa Cruz and Colbert? They're both at 130.
Yeah, that's what H Money said. I think that's a really good fight too. I completely missed Santa Cruz. That's a really good fight.
Now, I don't know if Santa Cruz would want to take that fight, considering the beating he just took from Davis, because I think Colbert would be very difficult for him, because Colbert moves and boxes real well, kind of like Davis does, and has the power. Now, I don't know if he has as much power as Davis, but that would be a possible fight for Leo. But I don't know where Leo's head's at, because there's no conversation about him fighting either. So those are a couple of fights: Gary Russell or Leo Santa Cruz.
There you go. Tony Ayo in the chat says that here Teofimo will resume training tomorrow. I'm not sure where you heard that, because just last week we heard that Teofimo may not even be ready in September. So, I don't know. There's a lot of Teofimo rumors and stuff like that going around. But the solid story we heard was that he's pretty sick, and that they were talking about putting him on. Hang on. They were talking about putting him on the De La Hoya undercard, but there was talk that he may not even be able to ready for that. So it's not good, man. Not good.
Please, Robbie.
No, and his situation, that's scary, because he was in training for this fight, came down with a virus, and now he's having difficulties. All we want is to see him in top-notch health so he can get back to do what he does. But the most important thing is he's got to be healthy. So this fight can wait, as far as I'm concerned. Because you're still going to collect the pie no matter when the fight occurs. But the number one thing is he's got to be 100% healthy. So if it's got to be delayed, it has to be delayed.
Yeah, and Robbie, you don't know. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Beeb.
I'm sorry. Robbie, why'd you say he's got to collect the pie? He's taking a shot at me because I just took a pie in my face earlier in the show.
No. Look,
you taking shots, Robbie?
No.
You taking shots?
It sounds like he's taking shots, Beeb.
I'll fly down there. I'll fly down there this weekend, and I'll stick your pie in your face. How's that?
It doesn't. It sounded like he was taking shots at you, Beeb. He just laid a punk card down at your feet.
No.
What you gonna do about it?
First of all, Beeb, I don't know why you had to take a Pie, I don't think you lost any fights.
Oh,
to
he
Georgie.
called you out.
I
He's calling you a
lost-
sucker, Beeb.
I lost the
He
title
called
shot.
you a sucker, boy.
I lost a title shot to Georgie. He beat me again.
Wow.
Okay.
He's called you a sucker,
number
boy.
two, number two, when I'm referring to a pie, I'm talking about the pie that Eric is going to take from what's the guy's name?
Chandler M.
Chandler. Yeah. I mean, Chandler M is going to that's a guaranteed pie, but we want Teofimo 100% healthy so Eric can really collect.
I don't care if Teofimo is 50% healthy. He's going to collect. Doesn't matter. That guy ain't beating him, son.
Yeah.
All right, stop
Doesn't
taking
matter.
shots at me,
No.
Robbie.
Yeah, I mean, it was passive aggressive there.
No,
man. Wow,
No,
Beeb.
no, I was not. I was
He
not
took some
taking no
shots at the
believe me.
Beeb, son. It's about time. I mean, Beeb's always taking shots at you, Robbie. It's only fair, right?
No, I'm not out here to take shots. Believe me,
I help you set up the
I'm-
zone and everything, and you're taking shots at me.
That's right. No, I'm not taking shots.
Sound like he was
Believe me.
taking shots at you, Beeb.
Uh,
I wouldn't
Why
take that if
no.
I were you, Beeb. Man, I
Why
don't
don't I tell
know.
Mrs. Herrick what you've been saying about me?
okay.
All right, Robert. Well, I tell you what, man, we are going to see you on Tuesday. Yes, you'll be there for the big reunion.
Yes.
We can't have. Listen, man, we can't have a
schedule all
boxing. We
cleared.
can't have this reunion without you, right?
And you better be on your best behavior because
Yeah.
we are gonna have the interruption counter ready
Oh,
for that show.
stop it, Beeb. What's the matter with you?
Oh, please don't talk like that.
You better stop manning up, Robbie. I'm tired of you groveling when you call in here.
Anyway, no, I'll be here Tuesday. I've already got my schedule cleared, so
There you
I'm
go.
good to go.
Got your
All
schedule
right.
cleared. Like you got a friggin' full calendar ahead or something.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, well, what did you have to clear out?
Set it up.
Well,
Like
because,
you're- like,
I
do my
had to set my
podcast-
alarm and
I
wake
do
up
my
that day. You know
podcast-
what I'm saying?
I do my podcast on Tuesdays,
Oh,
guys,
please,
so
Robbie.
I had to move things around. So.
Yeah, I told you, Beebe's busy.
He's acting like he's gonna be on Jimmy Fallon or something on Tuesday. Yeah, fuck out of here, will you?
Okay.
Oh, Jesus. All right, Robert, we will talk to you on Tuesday, my man. We're looking forward to it. We can't wait.
I got some of that
Okay,
pie up
see
my
ya.
nose.
You got pie up your nose?
I don't know, man.
Not all.
Face is all sticky, man.
Sticky face, boy. That's what Coco called you. Sticky face. Hey, sticky face. Sticky face. That's funny, man. That's funny. So what's coming up? What's coming up here on the boxing schedule? I heard one that dude Zafar already pulled out. Yeah. So okay. So on July 7th, I think that's a Wednesday, Beeb.
It is.
From Australia it's going to be on ESPN Plus. Now I imagine they'll probably listen. I don't know what time it's coming on or anything like that, but I know it's probably going to be early if you want to see it live, or you could just catch it on ESPN Plus whenever you get off work.
Yes.
Tim Tszyu versus Stevie Spark, 10 rounds, junior middleweights. Nobody of any note on that undercard, but yeah, man, Tim Tszyu. I guess Michael Zafara just dropped out. Just said, I'm not going to do it. You know, I don't know what happened to him, or if he got injured or what.
They didn't even give a reason why.
I didn't see a reason why, but I mean, that doesn't mean there wasn't one. You know what I mean?
I'm sure there was, but they didn't even say anything about it, though. They didn't tell us.
Didn't say nothing, man.
They owe us an explanation.
I would, right?
You don't just cancel events not cancel events, but you don't just pull people out of fights without telling us why.
It is.
We need to know.
July 9th. Is this Friday or Saturday? Is that Saturday? I don't know. Listen, it doesn't matter.
July 9th?
July 9th.
July 9th is Friday.
All right. July 9th from LA on DAZN. Gilberto Ramirez versus Sullivan Barrera, 12 rounds, light heavyweights. Joseph Diaz Jr. versus Javier Fortuna for the WBC interim lightweight title.
A solid card.
Tanaki Tsunami versus Cienza Estrada, 10 rounds for Tsunami's WBO women's junior fly title.
I like it.
Yeah, take it or leave it.
Please.
Yeah, and that's all. Let's see here. And that's it. That's it for this weekend. Now, the following weekend on the 17th, you got Jermel Charlo versus Brian Castano. Raleigh Romero versus Austin DeLay. They're really hyping Romero up, man. He's
Yeah.
pretty good. He's a
Yeah,
very
he's
good
good.
fighter, man.
He's good.
Let's see here. And then in a couple weeks, about 3 weeks, We got Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder for Fury's WBC heavyweight title. That's a solid card.
All heavyweights, right?
Yeah, well, almost. You got Rancis Bartholomew's on there.
Oh, he's on that
But
card?
the rest of them are all heavyweights. Yeah, Jared Anderson, Big Baby's going to be on there. Helenius and Konoski is going to rematch. Jagba, Frank Sanchez, and then Fury and Wilder. Also, oh yeah, check this out. Also the same day, July 24th, Joe Joyce versus Carlos Takam. That's a good fight. That's a really good fight. And hopefully you get off this whole haterade with Joe Joyce, man. I mean, hopefully you're finally on his bandwagon, Beeb.
Love Joe Joyce.
Yeah, you didn't love him so much last time, did you? Yeah. And he won. Now you're all over him.
You know what I do?
Fair weather fan.
I'm like I go with the wind.
Whichever way the wind's blowing, that's the way I'm pointing, boy.
I'm like Don King. I'll step over the loser and go right to the winner's corner. That's how I do it. That's how I do it, man. I like winners.
That's it. Kung Fu Jitsu in the chat says Zafara wasn't happy with the interstate COVID protocols, but it looked like an excuse to get out of the fight. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What was it? What else was there? I read something else that was pretty interesting. I guess it doesn't matter. Tony Ayo says, has Coppinger or Glazer dropped those Tank pay-per-view numbers yet? Let's talk about that, man. Let's go to the news real quick, and let's talk about this first, man. There has been zero word, and when I say zero, I mean zero word on the Tank and Barrios pay-per-view numbers. What does that mean? It means it tanked, son.
Yeah.
It tanked big. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I believe that it didn't even go over 200,000.
I don't know about that.
They would have mentioned it, right? $250,000? They wouldn't have mentioned $250,000?
You make a good point.
They of course would have mentioned it.
Yeah, a lot of people stream that.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely tanks, son. And it's weird because Tank draws the crowd. He really does, man. All the celebrities come out. It was a packed house, 16,000 people, and absolutely zero buzz on pay-per-view. But now you think about Terrence Crawford. You put him in where? You put him in Nebraska or whatever, Omaha, where he is. Warren Buffett shows up. A bunch of celebrities show up. Place is packed, full house, standing room only, and the pay-per-view does squat.
Well, someone asked the other day.
You got to put him up there against the guy, man. You got to put some star power in there with him.
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about whether or not Tank is a pay-per-view star or not. And it was being argued that, okay, well, his last pay-per-view, what did his last pay-per-view do? Like 250,000 pay-per-view buys or something like that. The one with Leo Santa Cruz, I think it did 250.
Uh-huh.
And then, the person said, well, those aren't great numbers. And then the other person who was arguing back said, well, by today's standards, what are good numbers? Well, I'm going to say probably around 450 to 500, given the fact that everyone illegally streams. 450 to 500 are pretty decent pay-per-view numbers, I would think, because Errol Spence, he sells like 400. He did 400,000 with Mikey, right?
Yeah.
And what did Thurman and Pacquiao? They do about 400,000 or 500,000 pay-per-view buys. So those are pretty solid numbers, I think, given today's the rampant pirating we have of these events, right, through streaming. I think that's a good number. The 200 to 250 range, that I don't see how a fighter like Tank, given the right opponent, couldn't do significantly or substantially more. No disrespect to Mario Barrios, but I don't know. What would Tank versus Ryan Garcia do on pay-per-view? That would
probably huge numbers. Probably huge numbers, right?
That would do.
You want huge numbers? You want huge numbers? That's who he's got to fight. He's got to fight somebody that people know.
Now, don't get me wrong. Tank did get a lot of buzz on the internet, right? And there was a lot of talk of him on social media, and he does draw a good live gate, does draw a good house. But the question is, just because he's getting all this buzz, are all these people willing to pay and put down their pay-per-view dollars to purchase his events? That's the thing we have to wonder. Or are they going to stream it? Because if you give a fight fan a good fight, he'll be willing to pay for it as opposed to streaming it. Like I've heard fans say, Well, if the fight's good, I have no problem paying for it. But if it's not pay-per-view worthy, I'm going to stream it. And I think a lot of fans do that. I don't think the average person is going to stream every event. You know, the only time they're going to stream it if they don't think it's worth their money. Most people, not everyone, but there's a good majority of people that will buy a good event. They will put their money down on a good event. But if it's not good, that's when they stream. So I don't think everyone just streams by default.
Well, Yayo brings up a good point too. He said the pay-per-views was like, $75 or something crazy like that. That was another. The price point was outrageous.
That was another bad move.
$50, yeah. 75, absolutely no. And again, Mario Barrios, great fighter, not exactly a household name, and it was a good fight, but the undercard was terrible. It just wasn't. Listen, when you or I don't buy the fight, that tells you everything you need to know. We buy everything. We bought the Jones, the Jones Gun pay-per-view, so like I said, man, I mean, we buy everything. So the fact that we didn't buy it should let you know everything you need to know about that card, about the undercard, and everything that goes along with it, man. It's awful. Awful. Let's talk about this. So you did a show on this the other day. You've done a couple of shows, I believe, on it. Chris Colbert gave an interview to Fight Hype. All right. And in the interview, he mentioned Deontay Wilder, and I didn't see the interview. I got to be clear about this. I didn't see the interview, and apparently he ran Wilder up one side, down the other. I guess he called him a coward and whatever. I don't know.
He called him a sucker.
A sucker. Okay. And then it was said that the videos, all those videos, apparently came down. And that the rumor is that Wilder was behind it, or that one of Wilder's teams behind it, or somebody. But it sounds like, and I've heard this from we've heard this from a couple different sources now. We know the thing at Fight Hype did take it down because we can't find it anywhere. We also know that was it Barbershop, or who was the other? You talk on this because you know more about this.
Well, I got to be careful here because I know. I got all the information to confirm and clarify what exactly happened. But the bigger thing here is Nestor Gibbs conducted the interview. Now, he has no control over how Chris Colbert's going to answer the questions that he asks. And Nestor Gibbs was playing devil's advocate to every answer that Chris Colbert gave. So to suggest that Ness had anything to do with what Chris Colbert was going to say, or to even hold Ness accountable or blame Ness for any of the things that were said on this interview and make it out to be that Ness did this to take a shot at Wilder. I think those claims are ridiculous and they make no sense. Another thing I'm hearing too that's really irritating me is, oh, well, why doesn't Ness just put it up on his channel? Why did Fight Hub take it down? Why didn't they stand their ground? Blah, 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 blah. What do I always say? I do not hold anyone to a standard that I could not hold to myself. I could not hold anyone to a higher standard than I would hold myself to, right? So if I'm in that position and I'm doing that full time for a living, right? And I'm making the money that I'm making on it, and I'm trying to support my family off that because that is my livelihood. And if I don't take that video down, then the person and the entity that is telling me to take that video down can blackball me from their events, which is probably 30 to 40 shows a year that I won't be able to cover. I won't be able to interview 200 of their fighters, right? And then the word's going to be put out on me, and it's going to really affect my bottom line, and I'm not going to be able to do my job effectively or efficiently, right? Just like anyone else at a job. If their boss tells me to do something and you refuse to do it, you're not going to put yourself in jeopardy of losing your job, right? If your boss asks you to do something, then you're going to do it. You're not going to put your job in jeopardy. You're not going to put your livelihood in jeopardy. So you have no fucking right to tell someone else to put their livelihood in jeopardy. Oh, why don't you just leave it up there, man? Fight back. Stand on your laurels. Do this. You wouldn't do that because it's easy for you guys to say that because you're not in that position. You're not the one who's done, you're not the one depending on that revenue. All right. So just fucking kill that bullshit. That's not an option. Okay. The bigger problem here is censorship. Okay. The bigger problem is also freedom of speech. Those are issues, and even though that video is taken down, a lot of people took copies of that video off the internet, off YouTube or whatever, right? And that video is still out there, right? And also, people are talking about, even people who are pro Wilder, right, that didn't like the interview, even these people are saying that's a freedom of speech censorship type issue, right? Shouldn't have been taken down. So nobody's really happy about this, right? Nobody's really happy about this, whether you're a Wilder fan or not. Now, you may not have liked what was said in the interview, and that's fine. Did Chris Colbert go a little raw in this interview? Yeah, but because the reason why he went raw in this interview is because he said, in other interviews that he thought Fury won both fights, right? And Wilder talks like anytime someone says that they think Wilder lost both fights, Wilder says something derogatory about them, right? Oh, well, Jamel Charlo, he needs to be slapped for that, for what he said, because he didn't think that race was a reason why that Wilder lost the second fight, right? He didn't believe race had anything to do with it. And then Deontay Wilder says derogatory things. The fans start attacking Jamel Charlo. So at this point, Colbert is going to be a little raw when he talks about this topic because he's been insulted. He's been attacked for having his opinion. So if you can't have an opinion anymore, you can't pick a fighter. If you have a fighter who is that sensitive that it's going to bother him if someone thinks he lost a fight, like Paulie Malignaggi, for instance, thought Wilder lost the first fight, and there were rumors that Wilder wanted to get him fired from Showtime. And you even heard Wilder talk shit about the Showtime broadcast team because they thought he lost the first fight. They have a right to their opinion, okay? They have a right to their opinion. When Harold Letterman scored the Andre Ward-Sergey Kovalev fight for Sergey Kovalev, did Andre Ward come out and start cussing out Harold Letterman? Did he insult Harold Letterman? No. And all these channels that are out there saying Fury cheated, accusing this guy of assault with a deadly weapon, saying this guy is a cheater, and saying that this guy basically is a horrible human being, whatever, right? They're accusing him of everything under the sun. They're defaming this guy. They're accusing this guy of criminal action. Let me ask you guys this. How many of those videos were taken down? How many of those channels were contacted by Team Fury or Top Rank or anybody having those videos taken down, right? So it's okay for that side to be able to talk and do what they need to do, but there can't be any rebuttal to what they're saying. So this is disgusting. It's a freedom of speech issue. It's a censorship issue. And I understand why the video was taken down, and I don't fault, Fight Hype for taking the video down. They did what they had to do. But I am disappointed and angry with the person that called Fight Hype and told them to take the video down, because that should have never been done, right? And then, I'm going to be careful here, but a statement was released that Chris Colbert asked to have the video taken down. And that statement was released a couple of days after. Well, I don't want to get too deep into that.
Be real careful with this, babe.
Got to be careful with this one.
Be
but
real
we
careful
know.
With this. I would
but
drop it at that. Yeah.
All I'm going to say is I'm skeptical of that, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
And Fight Hype is a pretty big channel. We all know that Fight Hype is pretty big. That being said, listen, Fight Hype is not ESPN. And Fight Hype can't exactly call its own shots. I mean, it just is what it is. They need, if somebody pulls out, if somebody, like Top Rank or like PBC, who's got 200 some fighters, if they say, hey, listen, we're not going to grant you access anymore. We're going to cut off all the interviews, all the access to us, all of our fighters. You're going to be stuck. That's a big part of your thing. That's your job. Business. That's your job.
That's your job.
I think, and it's Ben Thompson, correct? Is it Ben Thompson who does the Fight Hype?
He owns Fight Hype, yeah.
Okay. This is a big deal. That's a big deal for him. So if somebody comes out and says, hey, all we want you to do is take this interview down, you're going to do it. I mean, because you have to, and I don't blame you. I would do it too. I would do it in a minute, man.
PBC has the largest amount of fighters in the sport of boxing. They got over 200 fighters. They put on probably the most shows in the sport of boxing. If you lose access to all those fighters and you are not able to get credentialed to any of those fights, then that's a big chunk of your workload that's cut in half. That would be like asking a guy who builds houses for a living, right? He builds 100 houses a year, and then all of a sudden he has a falling out with a contractor, and they say, "Okay, we're gonna go elsewhere. We don't like the way you do business, right? You rubbed us the wrong way. You treated us disrespectfully or poorly or whatever." So then think about this. 100 houses getting produced a year by this construction company, right? Gets cut in half down to 50. Is that guy going to be able to live? Can anyone really, if I asked you to live off of half your revenue, or if I had to live off of half my revenue, right? Would you be able to do that comfortably? I know I wouldn't be able to do that comfortably, right? So we can't expect Ben Thompson to lose 50 to 60 to 70% of his revenue because of, repercussions of not taking that video down. So that's just the way it is, guys.
Not only that, like I said, man, even if it wasn't PBC, say it was Top Rank, say
anybody.
It was a smaller outfit. You don't know where the next Sugar Ray Leonard or Oscar De La Hoya or Floyd Mayweather is coming from. You know what I mean? You don't want any bridges burned here, So if they tell you to do something, listen, man, you got to respect it and you got to do it. Unless you're ESPN. If you're ESPN, you can kind of call your own shots. None of us are ESPN, trust me. The biggest channels that do this. I mean, if you haven't noticed, boxing is a very niche sport. Our biggest channels here, you take them over to MMA and they're getting dwarfed by the numbers that MMA is getting. It's a niche sport. I get it. So we have to, you can't really blame anybody for taking that video down or whatever. I get it. I mean, I completely get it. You got to do what you have to do,
Yeah.
So yeah, but we'll talk, and we'll probably talk more about this, I would believe, on Tuesday when Ness comes in here. We'll talk more about this and kind of get his take on it too, because like I said, it's I don't like it. I don't like the fact that, I mean, what does it say? We have to assume, and again, I don't know anything about it. None of us really know, but we have to assume that if the video was taken down, it had Tyson Fury's people aren't going to come over here and say, "Hey, take the video down." You know what I mean? So they're going to say, I would assume that it was Wilder's people that asked to take that video down. What does it say about Wilder? I mean, like, really, man? Like, is this guy like mentally ready for like anything?
If you're going to allow someone's opinion to dismantle you psychologically and mentally, right? If that's going to affect you that much, then what's going to happen on July 24th when you're going to go in that ring with Tyson Fury? And you're going to be having those punches rain down on you. If you had to put earphones on because you did not want to listen to the verbal onslaught that you were going to be having unleashed on you, and you couldn't deal with that verbal onslaught that was about to be unleashed on you by Tyson Fury, you had to cover up your ears because you didn't want to hear it. It's like that little kid who is being told something and he covers his ears and goes, no, because he can't deal with what he's being told. He doesn't want to deal with it. He doesn't want to face the criticism. Doesn't want to face the criticism, right? That there's no way that can't be perceived as weakness. There's just no way. There's no way that can't be perceived as weakness.
That's the thing. Georgie said his call is going to be epic tonight. Well, if you're going to call, you better hurry up because we're rounding out now. Lilo Ledwaba. I don't know if you guys remember him, but he lost to Manny Pacquiao. I believe, what would you say, was back at 115?
115, yeah.
115.
That was Pacquiao's first fight.
On HBO, wasn't it?
On HBO. And I think it was his first fight. I want to say it was his first fight in the United States, if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I thought, you know what? I thought his first fight was against Six Heads Lewis, but I don't know. Who
No.
knows?
No.
But anyway, Lilo Ledwaba unfortunately passed away from COVID this week. So man, it's just terrible, man. I figure we got the vaccine and everything, and I guess I don't know if he got it. I don't know if he didn't, but yeah, craziness, man. Just craziness. Let's see here. Casemiro, John Rael Casemiro is out against Nonito Donaire, and now he's back in again versus Rigo, set for August 14th. That's going to be a good fight, Beeb.
Well, that was what the original fight was supposed to be, so now it's back on. You know, again, I still question the whole situation, how that whole thing transpired with Nonito Donaire. It just appeared to me like it just appeared to me that he was looking for any excuse to get out of that fight. I think he had second thoughts about it. I think he, like I said, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but I think he wanted that Inoue rematch. That's what I think he was focused on. But this is still a great fight. This is still a great fight. I have no problem with this fight. This is a 50-50 fight, in my opinion.
I think so too. Rigondeaux's very good, man. That's going to be a good fight.
So either fight is acceptable, in my opinion.
I think so too. I actually like this one a little bit better, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Riddick Bowe is coming back. Bowe signed a contract with Celebrity Boxing and will be back on October 23rd. No opponent has been named. Have you heard this guy talk recently?
Yes,
it's
I have.
Awful.
It's painful.
It is awful.
It's beyond painful.
I mean, he can barely talk. You know, he just had a GoFundMe for his house not too long ago.
Yeah, poor guy, man.
It's awful. Now he's boxing. Are you serious? Like, who signed him? You know, what are you thinking about? And Maris Briedis announces a move to heavyweight. It's a good move, Beeb.
I'm skeptical and questionable about it. Yeah, him and Usyk, I think, were solid cruiserweights. But again, this is not the heavyweight division that we once knew back in the the 80s and the 90s, bro.
The 220, the 220.
Yeah, this is not the 6'3", 6'4", 220. We're looking at 6'6", 6'8" to 6'9", 260, 270-ish.
Athletic.
You know, and these guys are solid punchers, but they're not huge punchers. It's not like these guys aren't a Mike Tyson or a David Tua.
No,
like a thick, stocky, muscular, not even muscular, but not that thick, stocky, explosive, fast, twitchy, one punch knockout people, right? Because a guy like Tyson can make up for the size disadvantages in height and reach because of his hand speed, his foot speed, and his explosive power, fight changing power with one shot. To fight in this weight class, you need fight changing power with one shot. Right. And I don't think neither Usyk nor Briedis has that. So that's going to be a problem.
There you go. All right, let's go to the phones quickly and then we're going to wrap it up. Let's see. 773. 773, you're live.
Okay, guys, I got to say, I am deeply disappointed in your takes regarding the boxing journalists trying to protect their livelihood. And if you take that away, then they might not give you interviews in the future, and you got to protect yourself. No, if that's the case, then you need to go get a corporate job. You need to go sit in an office or something. Your job as a journalist is to tell the truth, put it out there, whether people like it or not, regardless if it's going to hurt your bottom dollar. Okay, so for them to take the video down because some fighter came at them and said, "Oh, I don't like that. That hurt my feelings." Too bad. People want to hear it. This is what people watch my show, my videos, because they want to hear stuff like this. They need to hear stuff like this. So they say this, and they're not going to give any more interviews at the PBC. Good. I don't want any more interviews then. I don't want to, because that's what happens, guys. This is what happens all across journalism.
It's a lot easier said than done.
So you would be willing. So you would be willing to give up 60 to 70% of your revenue, and you could live off that, right? You could do that.
Not only that, but this thing you built from scratch, because Ben Thompson did a great job building this from scratch.
Ben Thompson's been doing this
today.
Ben Thompson's been doing this since 2004. Okay,
yeah.
He's got 1 million subscribers, right? And here's the thing, Kevin, you got to pick and choose your battles sometimes. Because
Yeah,
there's a lot of interviews on there that are edgy and stuff. Like there's a lot of great content on Fight Hype, right? That people go to this channel to hear the truth. And you're still hearing the truth over there. But in a situation like this, when you're put your back up against the wall and you're going to lose major dollars out of this, none of us are willing to do that. Nobody,
No.
if you walked up to anybody right now and said, if you don't do this, you're going to lose 60 to 70% of your yearly revenue, right? No one is prepared to do that. You wouldn't do that at your job. If you were, how many times does a boss come up to you and tell you something? How many times does a boss come up to you and say something to you that's totally out of line or whatever, but at the time, you need the job, right? You could quit and go get another job, but you have to get something else. Why would Ben Thompson throw something away like Eric said? Why would Ness throw something away that they took hours, months, years to build for one incident? It's not worth it.
No,
it's not
not
worth
at
it.
all. It's not even a little bit.
My point earlier, they're in a profession where they're supposed to speak truth and power. It's supposed to get uncomfortable.
They did speak truth and power. They did speak it.
People.
They did speak it.
No, they took down the video and they're bent over backwards whenever things got a little hairy. Whenever someone came and got in
You would
their
have done
face,
the
they
same
turned
thing.
around and
Again,
they're
not
the same
That's
thing.
exactly what happened.
You would have done the
They're
same
not
thing.
ESPN. They don't have
No,
that
I
same
wouldn't
kind
know,
of pull.
Yes, you would have.
No,
I know
wouldn't
for a
know.
fact you would have
Not a
done that.
chance.
I know
Not a
for a
chance.
fact you would have done it.
You
I
know
bet
what?
my
They
life on
exposed
it.
their
I
channel
bet the
now.
life of my family on it that you would have done the same thing.
Now,
You would have done the same thing.
Now,
You would have done
every
the
time
same
someone
thing.
watches their channel, they're going to be side-eyed because they know
No, they
they're
won't.
compromised.
No,
Now
they
it's a
won't.
compromised channel. They
No, they won't.
expose their integrity. Their integrity is now in question.
No, it's
They
not.
expose
It's
themselves.
easier.
No, it's
It's
not.
easier for
You're-
smaller
you're-
channels.
and you're
It's easier for.
defending them,
Listen to
And
me.
you defending them, your integrity is in question.
No, it's
now
not.
your integrity
No,
is
it's
in
not.
question
Because
for
guess
defending
what?
them.
Guess what? This is what
Absolutely.
This is what you don't understand. Because you can only see 2 feet in front of you. I could see friggin' across the country. That's how farsighted I am. That's how far ahead I could see. Do you know that everyone saw that video already? Everybody knows what was said in that video. People took that video and downloaded it and uploaded it to their channel. So that's the message is already out there. Ness basically comes out of this looking like the champion of freedom of speech, right? Ness comes out of this looking like a champion of anti-censorship because he did his job, right? They were the ones that wanted to censor,
He
right?
deleted it. He deleted it.
They're
He
the ones.
deleted it.
No, it's not. It's still up there, bro. It's other channels took it.
Yeah, you got to go.
Message
search
already
around.
out. The
You gotta
message
go
is already
search around
out.
and look for it.
I could recite the interview to you right now.
Stand
word
by
for word.
your word. Stand by the interview. Stand by your job. Stand by. Instead, you're trying to
Kevin,
hide it. And
Give
make
up.
it
Give
disappear
up.
like it's something,
Give up
like it's something
50%
bad
of-
or something.
Give up 50% of your revenue right now. Right now, give up 50% of your revenue. Get
If I
rid
was
of it.
a journalist, if I
Get rid of
covered
it.
sports, if I covered
That's why you.
sports,
That's why
it's a
you don't have
different
the
story.
balls to be a
You don't
journalist
see the-
because you won't be able to do what they do.
You-
You don't have the balls to do what they do. All you have the
No.
balls. You have the balls
balls
to
to
sit
do
there
it.
and
No,
pretend you. You have the balls to sit there and hide behind a keyboard and talk tough. Now you're not in the spot. You're not in the spot. You're like that guy that sends
You kick
18
ass so you
year
can
olds
get
to
interviewed.
war. You're like that
Kick
guy.
ass so you
You're
can
like that
get
guy that
interviewed.
sends 18-year-olds to war, but you never picked up a fucking rifle. You never picked up a rifle. You were never in the field.
You just said that.
How many
See,
shots have you
just said
taken?
that.
How many
just
shots
said
have
you
you
want-
taken?
You just said
How
that.
many
You want
shots
to
have
kick
you
ass so you
taken?
can get interviewed.
How many shots have you taken?
You know I'm right.
How
That's
much
why you're
work
getting
have
all
you
worked
put
up.
in? How much work have you
No,
put
I'm
in?
right. That's why you're
How
getting
much
all
work
worked
have
up.
you put in? How much work have you put in? What have you ever done? What standard?
I'm
What
not a
cause?
journalist.
What cause did you ever stand for? What cause did you ever stand for?
What?
When did you
what?
ever? When did you ever go against the grain? When did you ever go against the grain? When did you ever rock the boat? Have you ever walked up to your boss and gave him the middle finger and said, "Fuck you, I'm walking out of here. Take this job and shove it up your ass"? Go into your boss's office not tomorrow because you probably have it off. Go into your boss's office on Tuesday and walk in there and go, fuck you. Take this job and shove it up your ass.
It's a lot easier said than done.
Now I want to see and tell me how your rent or your mortgage is going to get paid.
Right.
That's what I want to know.
All right, Kevin, we're going to move along, man. Thanks for calling. And I get it. I understand where he's coming from. I do. I listen to me. I understand where he's coming from because he's not in that situation. And people who aren't in that situation, people who don't see it, you know what I mean? They don't understand like I said, they don't understand how hard they've worked to get to this point, how tough it is to get to that point, everything like that. So for Fight Hype to take that down, I completely agree with it. I completely agree with it. There was a time, I'll tell you what, I'll give you an example. Because this actually happened to us. And I won't name any fighters or anything like that, but one of the fighters we were set to interview, I got a message on saying that one of his trainers had been in trouble with the law just recently, the night before. You remember this? You know where I'm going.
I know where you're going with this, yeah.
And he had been in trouble with the law. I called the guy's manager and I said, listen, is the interview still on for today? And he says, yeah, why? I said, well, we got the word. Anyway, I informed his manager about the trainer. The manager didn't know anything about it. And he asked me, he says, would you guys be willing to keep this quiet? 100%, no question. And I also told him when I interview the fighter, I won't bring it up. And we did just that. We kept our word. We never brought it up. We let it come out, we let other sources, ESPN, all those other ones, we let them report it. We didn't report it because I didn't want any embarrassment. Sometimes you have to do that.
You pick and choose your battles in this world. That's what you do. Fight Hype has many of great interviews on there where they've gotten many of great sound bites, where they've gotten great information put out there. There's a lot of excellent videos on Fight Hype. There's a lot of excellent videos on theboxingvoice.com. So you think one incident like this is going to destroy? It's like a fighter like Sugar Ray Leonard. He loses to Hector Camacho in his last fight. Does that erase all the great work he did earlier in his career by beating Duran, by beating Hagler, by beating Hearns? No. It's one bump in the road that they have to deal with, and then they just keep it moving. That's it.
Not a huge deal. Really
not a huge deal.
From this day, you'll be my new fool.
Georgie, you're live.
Hey, yo! It's nice to see everybody.
And the new!
Whoa, easy there. Whoa, easy there. Reigning and defending here. This is the third fight on the road. Don't make me not put no video evidence on you again. We can have the credibility of the show go down to that level. Please. We had enough of that.
The second time, not the third time.
Anyway, this seems to be the voice of reason here once in a while.
What's this?
But I'm going to tell you guys something. You seem to be the voice of reason once in a while on the show. So let me appeal to your intellect, even that can be futile. Listen, I'm really proud of you guys. Really am. Even though we all have all the divides and between all the channels, it's really beautiful for the humankind to see everybody unite against tyranny. Because like everybody, it's an accord. Freedom of speech is being focused on the attack. I understand the whole monetary purpose. Like, Beeb, you cannot say that the previous caller wouldn't put his salary on the line. You cannot judge a person like that. I have done that. Believe it or not. Like, I don't give a fuck how much you pay me. I don't like you. You don't roll the way I roll. Fuck you. Doesn't matter how much I lose.
I believe you,
Joe. Some people got that. Other people got a lot of. So to say that, you a little wrong that part. Now to say that Ned didn't do the wrong, he did the wrong thing by taking him down. No, he didn't. So he put it out there. What else you want? Dude, you getting death threats on top of shit. It's ridiculous out there. This is bigger than boxing. There is a agenda out there. I talked to you about this fucking mafia, these, that, and the third. But eventually they're going to come for you. You don't talk what they want you to talk about. They're going to come for you, baby. You can be. This is my problem with you guys. Every time I talk about, somebody could be juicing. Big get on fucking pedestal. He want to talk to me about how he had an IROC, fucking red IROC, right? You had a Chevy, and you got profile. He
remembers everything I told him.
The friendly gold next to me. I'm black as fuck next to you. You cannot talk. Listen, you cannot talk to me about discrimination. So sometimes you don't see the whole thing. Like when you see the whole profile, you don't. You're really emotional like I am. You know, but we gotta have a way to communicate. If what I say offend you so much that you gotta tell me with my life, my nigga. Where we at? Some people talk the way they talk. What? You gonna take offense? Everybody tell you something? Dude, you be dead or in jail a long time ago. Ridiculous. This is about boxing. I want everybody to support the channel, freedom of speech, and righteousness. And still,
he remembers I told him that story about when I drove that IROC Z back when I was friggin' 21 years old. I told him, I said the cops used to. I had this burgundy. It's like a cherry candy apple red IROC Z with the 5.7 liter engine, and I used to drive around, and the cops used to follow me around because I had this bright candy apple red car, right?
Right.
So then I painted it midnight metallic blue, and they still followed me around. Because I used to get speeding tickets all the time. When I was young, I used to freaking open that thing up, man. I used to love Now I drive like a grandma because they broke me. They gave me so many tickets now. Now they broke me. I'm like paranoid.
What kind of car you drive now? You don't drive a sports car, do you?
No. I drive like a friggin' Toyota right now. Come on.
Kevin said a relevant story.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying it's relevant. I'm just bringing it. Georgie brought it up.
Man, that's cold.
Georgie brought it up. So Georgie brought it up. So I found it fascinating that he remembered the story. So I just felt like I would elaborate on the story he was talking about. I'm not saying I agree with him. It's not relevant. Does everything have to be relevant? We can't just shoot the shit once in a while when we're talking on this show. I didn't know he made the rules.
706, you lied. That was cold-blooded, man.
That was a good one.
That chat is so ruthless, man. That
was a good one. That was a good one. He got me there.
Jason, what's up?
I can't believe all this drama. I can't believe all this drama is over one fucking lame Wilder interview, man. Jesus Christ. People act like people haven't seen people bash Wilder before. Like, Jesus Christ. Like,
right.
Everybody's already seen that video. This probably made it I'm a Wilder fan. I'm always telling Beeb that he's talking shit about Wilder. Like, I'm always telling him to back off. But I think Beeb is right. If I had a channel, you know what I mean? Wilder is really respected in the PBC, where it's like, if you're going to, disrespect Wilder, a lot of other fighters might fucking get mad at you and not give you access either. So Ness probably did the right thing as a businessman, you know?
Well, Ness didn't do anything. It was the guy from Fight Hype. Ness just works for Fight Hype.
Yeah.
That's it. Ness didn't do anything.
No, but here's the problem. Let me just say one thing.
Shut up. Everybody shut up.
Come on.
Shut up. Go ahead, Beeb.
Let me just say one thing, Jason. The reason why is because people are telling Ness, because Ness has the original copy. Everyone's telling Ness, why don't you just put it up on your channel? He can't, because then they're gonna blackball him. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say.
I'll tell you what, hey Beeb, you know what? The other thing is that nobody thinks about. Okay, this is the thing that nobody thinks about too. The PBC's been good to everybody. They've been good to us. They've been good to Ness. They've been good to Fight Hype. They've been good to everybody. So shut up?
This kind of shit happen in fucking
son. Shut up.
Let me finish, man. Come on.
Let me finish. Hang on. Just hold on, douche. Anyway, they've been good to all of us. So I don't want to I mean, if they've been good to us and they've got us, they've got us ringside, they've got us, credentialed and everything like that.
Yeah.
If they asked me to do something, this is where I am with it. If they called me up and asked me to do something for them, I would do it for them. I don't care what it is. I would do it for them because they've been good. They've been good to us. They've been very good to Fight Hype. They've been very good to the Boxing Voice, and they've been good to us. If they called and said, hey, man, I would appreciate, could you guys do this for me? No problem. I would have 100% no problem doing that for him.
Yeah.
All right, talk, Dish Rag. What do you want?
Well,
706.
Yeah, man, come on, man. When I call you guys all the time, I got a fucking call. Like, oh, bitch. Come on. I was going to say, man, this shit happens in politics. This shit happens in politics in Hollywood all the time. Like, publicists, get shit taken down. And also, I've read, like, newspapers, like, political candidates getting questions fucking beforehand in interviews, Like, this kind of shit happens all the time. This is boxing. If it's happening in Washington, what the fuck do you expect in boxing? This is like a niche sport, man. Come on. Wake the fuck up. This is not some fucking, presidential election or something. Even though it happens there, of course it's going to be happening in boxing. We just have to live with the reality. Most boxing fans think it's something supposed to be holy or some shit. No, nothing's holy, man. We got fucking, we've got Irish cartels running fucking management companies in boxing. So, nothing's holy in this sport. So, we just got to get with the times. We got to smell the roses, as I say. And what do you guys think about Michelle Rivera? Are you guys familiar with him, or this is like the first time you've seen him?
It's the first time I seen him fight.
I've never seen him.
First time I seen him fight.
He's been fighting on PBC for a while. They say he's really good. What do you guys think?
I liked him a lot. I thought it was really good. I thought it was
all right for me.
Yeah, man. He's like David Morrell. He came out of nowhere. PBC's got a couple of guys like that the boxing media doesn't really pay attention to. They're fucking busy kissing Shakur Stevenson's ass while fucking David Morrell's knocking motherfuckers out and sending them to hell, Shakur Stevenson fucking stinking out the joint while David Morrell's fucking packing out the arena on a Sunday night in Minnesota. These are the kind of kids that deserve more attention, not Shakur Stevenson. That guy fucking sucks. I haven't watched one fucking round of Shakur Stevenson in my life yet. That's entertaining yet. Not even one round in Shakur Stevenson's career has been entertaining. Unless you guys disagree with me, if you want to,
No, I'm not a big.
Name a fight.
I'm not a big fan of Shakur Stevenson's fighting style. I don't find him entertaining. I'll be honest with that. I don't enjoy watching him fight. I'll just be honest.
Yeah,
I don't mind it, but he's got to be against the right guy.
And they're saying now that Shakur and Herring might be coming to Atlanta. That shit is not going to settle Atlanta. Maybe like 3,000 or 4,000. Then now you'll see like the difference between Tank and the others. If they come to Atlanta, you'll see like half the arena empty.
Yeah, what happened to your boy Tank's pay-per-view numbers? What happened to Tank's pay-per-view numbers?
What about them?
What are they?
They're like around 350.
No, they're not. Where'd you hear this at?
He just throws numbers out. He just throws numbers out.
Espinoza.
Shut up.
Ellie Segman posted a video interview.
No, son. It's nowhere, son.
With Espinoza last
that
night.
Pay-per-view tanked. Tanked, son.
Okay.
Pay-per-view tanked.
What do you mean tanked? It was trending number one in Google on Twitter. What are you talking
well, hey, it ain't trending number one in the pay-per-view sales, huh?
Are you sure? Are you really that stupid, dude? Are you really that stupid? It was trending above NBA games.
It was trending
above NBA games.
Okay.
Don't be so ignorant, okay? Don't be ignorant.
All right.
Okay, yeah, okay.
All right.
It was trending above NBA games, okay?
Did Tank give you his trunks after the fight?
The data. No, you got his junk.
Did you give him a shoulder rub after the fight? Make sure he's okay.
Eric thinks if a 6-year-old soccer dad in Ohio did buy the pay-per-view, it's a big deal. Like,
Tank, let me rub your
shoulders,
Tank.
Hey, did you see how packed the arena was?
Tank.
Did you see how packed the arena was? Like, is that like making you like jealous or something? I don't know why.
See how packed the arena was. I don't care how packed the arena was. It was 16,000.
Yeah,
it was packed. I already said it was packed.
Yes, 17,000 almost. That's what the fucking Atlanta Hawks sell. That's what the Atlanta Hawks sell. They're $1 billion franchise, you moron. And that's this.
Yeah, they lost, didn't they?
From the fucking hood.
Yeah, they got pushed in the other day, didn't they?
130 pounds.
Yeah, how come they ain't in the final, son?
130 pounds.
How come they ain't in the final, son? They got to push in, son.
You're mad about that?
Got to push in, son.
You're a grown
Sorry,
man.
dish rag.
You should be happy.
Gotta go.
You're like 16 years old.
Oh, this fool, son.
Oh my God.
Wait, yeah, Ellie Sec back. Ellie, shut up. 350. Don't you think if it would have done 350, it'd have been all over the news?
Yeah, it would have been out there.
Stop it.
You're not going to know what that number, you're not going to know what those numbers were.
Moron. I think this is Minnesota. 612, you're live.
Yeah, hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, I just want to say, man, I never understand what Georgie is saying, but
that makes three of us.
So, so anyways, I'm really concerned about Wilder's mental health. I highly suspect that he's suffering from personality disorder, namely narcissistic personality disorder, not to be confused with trait narcissism. So, and I say this, working in the mental health support unit, we would see patients like diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder who were like carbon copies of Deontay Wilder, or the way Deontay Wilder has been acting since his loss. And these patients were admitted because they had gone through like serious mental breakdowns over something a neurotypical or mentally healthy individual would just brush off and move on. So like these patients would have difficulties adjusting to adult life, which inherently involves ups and downs, losses, disappointment, shortcomings, and letdowns, right? So these patients with NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, they would experience an event in their life, and mind you, these were very competent and capable people. Some of them were drug addicts, some of them were very capable people, and all of a sudden they would become unable to function effectively in their work and their family lives or something like that, and they had to be admitted. So, I'm really worried about Deontay Wilder's mental health and his personality issues. I mean, it's an indicator of some deep-rooted issues that are very difficult to resolve. I mean, it takes years of therapy and introspection to develop the insights that your ego is severely misregulated to the point that you're altering your perception of reality in your mind to treat your condition. It's like a way, these like disillusions are ways that they treat their condition. So they don't have the insight to realize that. But it's very scary and frightening story. These individuals, they have, their egos are so misregulated and internally unregulated that they consistently need appraisement and approval. I think they call that like narcissistic. So in a sport that is so competitive like boxing, you need to be mentally stable and sturdy to perform at that level. And I'm really concerned. I bet that we might not see we might never see Deontay Wilder the same.
So what do you think happens when he steps in the ring? I mean, even with let me ask you this though, with his deficiency or whatever, with his mental illness or whatever, when he steps in that ring, how would that really affect him? I mean, do you think, it really affects him like when he gets shaken or his confidence, because his confidence may get shaken in that fight. Is that where everything comes in and falls apart for him? Or how does that, how do you see it going down?
Yeah, I think so. I think I think he's gonna get ran over.
Wow.
I think that if he gets hurt, he's done. He's over. He's gonna get knocked out. And I think going forward too, he's probably gonna. I'm predicting. I'm not sure. I'm predicting that he's gonna get beaten by subpar opponents from then on. But I hope I'm wrong. Because I really do like Deontay Wilder. I used to like him a lot. Yeah. I mean, his story is really, I love his story, that he did this for his daughter. And I really was attracted to him, his personality and his story. So it was really disappointing to see this. Anyways, I hope he can figure it out. But that's my call, guys. Great show.
All right, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. That was a good insight. I tell you what, that was it. And I kind of agree with that. Like I said, I don't know the name of what he's got, or I'm not as in depth. I mean, he works in the field. I don't. But he definitely, there's something there. I mean, there's definitely something there. You could see it with the changes over the course of his career. You can see it. And with the loss and everything like that, this really hit him hard. And you got to wonder when his confidence gets shaken in that fight, and it will be shaken. I mean, because you're going to get hit. You're going to get roughed up a little bit. What do you do after that happens? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what he does.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. All right, guys, that's going to do it, man. That's it. 4th of July. As always, you can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1 and find our YouTube channel at ringsidereporterlive.com. On Twitter, you can find me at ringside73. Make sure to tune in Tuesday. It's going to be a great show. You guys do not want to miss it. Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. So catch us then.